So 1998, you get drafted to the Dallas Mavericks, and Dallas starts off 40 and 42. Every single year, you guys get better in your 3 years there. Could you just talk about that transformation and what it was like to start your career in Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. I was blessed, to be honest with you. I got lucky. I got to link up with Michael Finley, Cedric Sabalas, Robert Pack, Eric Strickland, Sean Bradley, Hubert Davis. All those guys were true professionals. Gary Trent, you know what I mean? And they truly helped me become a pro, helped me to be able to stay in the NBA by teaching me how to take care of my body, by teaching me how to get, the proper rest, get enough shots up before and after practice, and, play hard on defense, be selfless, do the little things to help your team win, and you always have an opportunity to play in the NBA. So it really was a blessing going in there. Dirk, it was, we came in together and watching him grow, and then getting there to be with an offensive genius when it comes to Don Nelson Sr. And then Mark Cuban bought the team, and Mark Cuban took it to a new level.
And throughout your career, you got to play with great talent. Like, you were playing, first off, you go to Dallas, and you play with Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki.
Right.
What was it like just watching those guys develop into, players that they were becoming, and just the work ethic that went into that, and being in those practices with those intense Dallas teams, because you guys start 40 and 42, but then, you flip the switch 2 years later, 57 and 25, and, Western Conference Finals appearance. What was it like being in that atmosphere and being around those two guys specifically?
Yeah, you're right. You use a great phrase, work ethic. Both of those guys were extremely hard workers. Both of them started pretty slow. One, Steve Nash, his back was really messed up, so he dealt with a lot of injuries. And once he finally got that taken care of, the sky was the limit. Obviously, when you see him win 2 MVPs in Phoenix. And Dirk, his thing was just finding his confidence. He was a young kid. Now you see it every day now. Every year, I should say, these kids coming in at 19 ready to play. But Dirk was one of the youngest guys to ever do it, as far as coming in from a new country, not 100% sure if you belong. So he struggled with confidence early. But what they both did, which was extremely impressive, was they worked their tails off when they could get on that court. They found ways to get on the court. Most of the time they did it together, to be honest with you. They was like two peas in a pod, always together, on and off the court. And I think because they both had some struggles for different ways, different reasons, I should say, but they both struggled, so they leaned on each other and helped each other become both, got MVPs, and Dirk got a world championship.
So with those two guys, I know you were on your way out when Steve Nash left also, but from someone inside of Dallas and being a player on that team, did you think that they were going to keep that core together? I know Mark Cuban had his doubts with, like you said, Steve Nash staying healthy. Was it like extremely surprising for you to see them let Nash go?
No, never. In the NBA, nothing surprises you. Anything's on the table. To be honest with you. I do know when I was there, every trade deadline, Mark Cuban made a big deal. He was trying to get a championship by any means necessary. And a lot of times he was very impatient. And I understood he wanted to keep Nash from what I was told, but Phoenix paid Nash way more money than what Mark Cuban wanted to pay. So, somebody comes in there and outbids you for what you want to pay, you let him go. And you saw what happened in Phoenix when Nash got there. I'm pretty sure that desert heat helped his body a lot. And he had some really good athletes that could run and shoot the ball with him. And, he won those 2 MVPs. So I'm sure he was like, that's the best thing that ever happened to him. Get 2 MVPs and more money.
Do you think that they left potentially championships on the table by not bringing back Nash?
It was tough, man. You got to remember, Shaq and Kobe was together. Tim Duncan was there with Popovich. So it was going to be tough. I can't say they was going to win a championship in that era. It's extremely hard to win a championship. To be honest with you, that group probably wasn't good enough to win a championship. It was one of the reasons why Mark Cuban probably let him walk, because I think he probably felt if I pay Nash this money, it's going to be hard for us to put other pieces together the way the salary cap is constructed. And we'll just be a 3 to 6 seed team every year for the next 4 or 5 years. So, it worked out for him because he got his ring down the road, talking about Mark Cuban, and Nash got what the greatness and the Hall of Fame caliber career he got once he left Dallas.
And do you have like a specific story or something that you could take the fans inside of in those Dallas days with either Steve Nash or Dirk Nowitzki, that in your head, like you're watching these guys and you're an extremely talented player when you come in, but just watching these guys play, was there something that stood out to you saying, man, these guys are just different?
No, I mean, both of them worked extremely hard. Don't get me wrong, but we also had a lot of guys who worked extremely hard. But those guys, the talent was already in them. They did it every day. There's no specific story because they was like, the clock, the sun. They was there every day doing their work. They didn't, show up one day and take a week off. They were extremely diligent workers every single day. So nothing stood out other than that. Damn, Nash is here again today. Dirk is here again today, working on their game, trying to get better and having a good time at it. Those two guys was two of the most fun guys I've ever played with. Just always laughing, always cracking jokes and pulling pranks on each other and the guys in the locker room. So great group of guys, great couple guys, I should say, that really worked extremely hard.
And how those guys make you better and make you work harder, how they rub off on you?
Yeah, well, you can have the best two players on the team outwork you when you're just a role player or a defender. So they make you work extremely hard, challenge you every day in practice to be better. And then I just watched their workouts to see if I could take a little thing. I worked on finishes the way Nash would do for the next three or four summers, and it made me a better finisher around the paint just watching him those 2 or 3 years that I was with him. So they definitely made me better. But, it wasn't like they would come and give me words of wisdom because you got to remember, we all were young back then. It wasn't like they was, 4 or 5 year old vets and I was a rook and I was a 19-year-old rook and they was a 30-year-old man. No, we all were learning that game together. And I'm just so happy, obviously they had way more talent than I did.
How was it for you to take that transition from somebody who was starring at Clemson, a bunch of accolades there? You really put Clemson on the map to a certain extent, the first win ever in ACC tournament history against North Carolina, and the winning basket.
Right.
What was that like for you to accept that different role? Like once you get to the NBA, having to accept that role of being the role player, of doing your job on a team, how was that transition for you? And how long did that take you to feel comfortable in it?
Oh, it was easy. It was the very first day of training camp. My goal was never to play in the NBA. My goal was to play in college, and I figured I'd be done after my 4 years of college. So some of these kids now, their goal is to get to the NBA once they was 5 or 6 years old. That was never my goal. My goal was always get a degree, go back home, and help the youth, the next generation of basketball players. So when I got to training camp that first day, I'm doing what I always do. I play defense. I play hard, and coach acknowledged it and said it was something special about this kid who just coming into the league and understands the defensive thing. He said this in front of the team. So doing my game a little different from what it was in college and high school to make a team better and to be on the team, it was easy. Some guys can't do that. That's why they don't make it in the NBA, because you can't adjust to the role that the coach wants you to do.